Start of the 1986 Tour of Tameside, the Puma 7-mile road race, and 490 starters have faced the marksman's gun.
This is the lead car in today's 7 miles road stage of the Tour of Tameside. Morning everybody, nice to see you. Now we're going to give the runners a bit of a clap, a cheer even, as they go past their 500 on the line.
On this stage there's a short loop of just over a mile and then a second large loop of just under 6 miles. Plenty of hills in the course, including the long hill at Market Street from the finish, which the runners have to face twice, and then several undulations out in the country and in the vicinity of Hattersley, followed by a 1.5 mile downhill and then flat run to the finish. But with 52.4 miles ahead of them, as we can see, people are pacing themselves and taking it rather easily at the start. Come on, Ronnie, unfortunately yours truly, limping round the first small lap just to get some of the atmosphere of the race. Unfortunately, it's the first time that I've had to miss the Tour due to a knee operation about 3 days before the race. Number 6, Harry Clegg from St Helens Athletic Club, and Steve Brace from Bridgend Athletic Club taking an early lead, just checking over his shoulder at the opposition as he goes through the start line after the end of the first small lap. This is just over 1 mile gone in the race, and he starts to climb Market Street again, heading out into the big lap, looking through a shop window there just to check whether he's got a good style or a bad style. Now he's checking on the other side to see how far the opposition is behind. As Harry Clegg with the maroon shorts, along with the man in green, Tony O'Kell from Sale Harriers, give chase.
Mr. Harriers is well up there as well. And we go out now. Good morning, nice to see
Many of these people are veterans of the Tour, so they know what to expect and are just taking their time on this first Sunday morning stage. Number 37 was the first woman to go through, Karen Wapshot from Bracknell AC. And of course 490 runners is a lot of bodies to cope with for the police, and most of these runners are going to be extending themselves over the 6 stages in the 7 days of the Tour of Tameside. Runners from far and near, 2 staunch supporters of the Tour, come over from Bahrain every year, but many local runners too. You'll see green vests of the local East Cheshire Harriers Club, and one of the Bahrain runners is there in the red mesh vest just gone off the left of the screen. leader's up into G Cross now. 2.5 miles done, and Harry Clegg is forcing the pace again. A group of three handily broke away from Steve Edmonds of Sale and Tony Keller, the leading veteran at this stage. Veteran means over 40 in the men's division. First junior in blue there was Stephen Wheeler from Stretford Athletic Club. And they're well stretched out now, well stretched out by that long hill from the start up to G Cross. And they're going across now into Hattersley eventually. '61 East Cheshire's Gary Dale. The hill of Werneth Low and its war memorial prominent in the background as these three stretch away from the rest of the field. Into Hattersley now and down a hill before they have a very steep uphill, and it's still Harry Clegg from St Helens forcing the pace. Harry, in fact, is almost a veteran, will be a veteran I think a month after this tour ends, but he's showing some excellent form as they come now down towards the finish. And Steve Brace is hugging the rails there, he's leading now, he's going to take this stage. The Puma 7 mile road race, and Harry Clegg and Tony O'Kell fight it out for second and third. Steve Brace comes home in 35 minutes and 17 seconds, followed by Tony O'Kell, who out-sprinted Harry Clegg over the last 150 metres. Steve Edmonds comes in fourth. Tony Keller of Manchester Harriers, the first veteran, in a remarkable fifth place. Martin Cruikshank from East Cheshire Harriers is sixth. Stephen Wheeler in blue and Dave Rigby from East Cheshire Harriers, seventh and eighth.
Michael Don, number 301, coming down towards you. Francis Stage is coming in. 143 coming down is Chris O'Brien. Jed Murray of Stockport following Chris O'Brien in. Rob Taylor of Stockport Harriers coming down towards you. Well run, Roll. Number 110 coming down towards the finish now is Steve Baker of Horry. Just being overtaken. Come on, Steve, have a go. Look at that. Number 533 coming down towards you. Number 42, Dave Sutton from Burnham Jogger. He's a back. One by 9, Waterhouse coming down towards the finish. Colin Graham coming down. He's been a Olympic runner. Well run, Colin. Good to see you so well up this morning. Is Gary Dale chasing your end there? Well run, that's a local runner from East Cheshire. Paul Reed from East Cheshire coming down towards you. That's number 55. Is Paul Crookwell of East Cheshire, number 18. Steve Milton. Mario Washington, 283. And James Gregory of Stockport. Local runner Harry Clegg of East Cheshire. Harry Kelly of East Cheshire. Another top runner. Peter Orwell, veteran again. There's one or two of the lines who are over 40. Ricky Wild is there.
So many runners come into the finish that at some periods of the race, there's so many they have to queue up in funnels and have the numbers and times given out. Now this is the start of the Gore-Tex Fabrics hill race, the second day of the Tour of Tameside, a 6-mile hill race which starts on the dam of Brushes Reservoir. Already Harry Clegg is at the front of things again. Harry, who was third the day before, in fact ran a marathon the weekend before the tour started, the Sandwell Marathon, and won it, so there must be some tiredness in his legs which he'll hope to ease out over the week, although this stage will certainly not help his recovery, involving such severe climbs and descents at the end. Yesterday's winner Steve Brace seems content to sit in the second group as Harry Clegg leaves Peter Derbyshire in the black vest and red stripe of Wigan Harriers. Tony Keller, the veteran, just behind him. Dave Rigby from East Cheshire Harriers on the right of the screen in green, forming that group of 5. As they start to look at the climb which will take them to the top of Harrop Moor. And certainly Harry looks in quite an aggressive mood here, and he's opened up 15-20 metre lead. Too old is at the front there, although young Derbyshire looks like a junior, although he isn't. The junior, in fact, is the one in the blue shorts and the white vest from Stretford Athletic Club, Stephen Wheeler. But where is Brace? Did yesterday's stage take too much out of him? We should be able to spot him by his fluorescent yellow bright lights leader's jersey, but we can't see him as yet. Quite a lead this, quite a lot of determination on Harry's face. Maybe he feels that the descent will lose him some time and he needs to get some time in the bank, as we see Steve Brace on the left-hand side of that chasing group beginning to make some kind of a move and beginning to cover the break, or at least get with the main group in this stage. But you can see the steepness of the hills looking back over Staley Bridge there. It's a really tough course, this. It's one that the runners fear most of all. And the men that matter are in that chasing group as Steve Brace quickly moves to the head of it with Tony O'Kell head down at the back. Well, it's an unusual place to make an effort. It's hard enough just running up the hill without making some kind of a burst, as Steve appears to be doing now. Well, what a burst that was, because he's not only left the chasing group, he's also passed Harry Clegg, and he's making a determined effort to establish some kind of a lead. And this is where the marathon must be making its presence felt in Harry Clegg's legs. His thighs must be feeling quite heavy, especially with the race yesterday too. And a sneaky look over his shoulder to check where he's going. Whether that will encourage him to go further ahead or cause him to relax, we'll have to wait and see. But certainly the lead appears to be growing as he approaches the crest of the road hill and down the other side before, in fact, there is another climb on the tarmac before they leave the asphalted surfaces, get onto the rough to climb to the very top of the moor and the triangulation point and the rapid sweep or stumble or whatever you want to call it down to the finish at Copley Sports Centre. And well, Harry Clegg's found something in those legs on the downhill. He's suddenly revived, and in fact he's passed Steve and he's striding away, which is remarkable. This change in position so early in the race is really unusual. And there's the view that the runners will not see, because they'll be looking at the footing when they turn around that triangulation point and head down the hill. And it's Steve Brace who's forged ahead of Harry Clegg again to start the descent, well ahead of the pursuing field of 480 so runners, with Pete Derbyshire from Wigan in third place, himself well ahead of the next group in fact, but positions change quite dramatically on this downhill descent depending on whether the runner goes recklessly down or picks his way down, hoping to avoid injuries and twisted ankles or indeed falls.
Get him, Martin, downhill. Come on, Martin. Go on, lad. Come on, Martin. Go, Rob. Come on, Francis. Oh, come on, Rob. Come on, Jerry. Oh, go on, Ben. Nice run. Come on, Harry. All downhill. Go on, Harry. Go running, Harry. Go on, Ben. Go on, Harry. Go on, Harry. Brilliant running, Harry. Right, Harry, you got your shoes, you got your confidence. Go, Harry. Go on, Harry.
Well, I can assure you those runners really are tired, and the switch from the thighs forcing the body against gravity up to the top of that hill to those same muscles having to provide a great braking action to stop the bodies from rolling down and falling down the hill is quite a dramatic one, and for several yards there's very little to be felt in the legs. Angela Deegan, she's second lady as she went through the top of the hill there, heading off down to pick up some weary legs, and we can see the extent of that descent, which is complicated by two stone walls where in fact the majority, the less reckless, do pause to step on the top and jump over, but the more experienced fell runners would just take one leap at it and clear it and forget what's at the other side, or hope that the other side is quite landable, and carry on down the hill. But that was the bulk of the field as the leaders are coming down now within 200 metres of the finish, and it's Steve Brace has held on to his lead, and it looks like Harry Clegg has picked his way down because he's only just come into the picture there in about fifth place in fact, and it's Tony O'Kell who's picked up a tremendous amount on that downhill, what can we call it, kamikaze descent. But Steve is very much aware that this is a tour and that the times are added up to get the overall leader, and he's really putting in a burst at the end to pick up a few seconds because he's had a rest from the downhill, he's got the energy in his legs, and he knows that every second counts at the end. Tony O'Kell goes through. Peter Derbyshire just cruising his way through, a junior in fourth place, which is quite remarkable. And Harry Clegg in fifth place, guarding his overall position.
Come on, all downhill.
Well, there's a cameraman overtaking some of the athletes, but I don't think he ran the day before. And number 393, Tom Howarth, is not carrying his own portable loo. In fact, he's collecting for charity, but I don't think he's going to collect very much up on that moor.
Dominic Collins. Dominic. Harry Kelly, another man coming in. Well run, Harry Kelly. Rough Derbyshire from Stockport coming down. 2, 3, 4 men, Gregory of Stockport. Number 42 coming in is David Sutton of Burnham Harriers. 196. Tony Radcliffe of Saddleworth.
For many of the runners, this is the first experience they've ever had of something like fell running, and although it's a painful experience physically, many people have come up to me after the race and said, you know, thanks for putting a race like that in the Tour of Tameside, because the ones that have had time to look around at the top have seen magnificent views, you've been out in the fresh air, and it's remarkable that you can get onto the moors within 2 or 3 miles of Tameside, or one of the centres of Tameside, for instance Staley Bridge, and it really is a different world up there. And although it's tough, some people still have enough energy left in their legs for a sprint finish, which is good for them. Angela Deegan finishes. Sue Exon from Stretford finishes close behind her, and Carol Walken from Horwich in the red striped shorts just behind her. So the second, third and fourth woman close together behind Karen Wapshott, who won her second stage of the Tour, as did Steve Brace, 2 out of 2. The third stage, the Adidas run across Tameside, 11 miles, and there'll be some sore legs tonight. Karen, 2 wins in 2 days. How do you feel about tonight's long stage?
Well, hopefully, I'm looking forward to tonight. Hopefully, I'm just going to try and run quite hard if I can, depends how I feel, because I think on the longer distances, you can make up more time than the shorter ones. But I'm not looking forward to the hill at the end of 11-mile course. Well,
you won on the hills yesterday, so I think you'll be okay. Good luck.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.
Steve, you won 2 stages, 2 wins in fact. How about tonight?
Feeling quite good at the moment. See how the races run. I'm not going to eyeballs out from the start. A comfortable start and may attack on the hill to finish. That would be the ideal plan, but you can't make plans.
What's the chances of winning all 6 stages like Eddie Hellebuik did 2 years ago?
Well, after yesterday, I'm a little more confident, because if any racer was going to come apart, it was yesterday's. Being a road runner and not experiencing anything like that descent, I'm a little bit more confident. Being a longer road runner as well, I think the bias is towards the road now from now on.
Okay, well, we wish you luck. Sure you can do it.
Thanks.
Thanks. Right, we know you're not second in the race. Can you give us some idea of what position you are?
Yeah, well, last night I was 455th.
And what's your name? We must look out for you.
Dave Ashley.
From?
From Glossop.
From Glossop, great.
Yes.
So are you familiar with the terrain around Mosley or not?
Not really, no. I can find my way from one place to another, but I'm not really. I've not run around here before.
Of course, it's fairly easy. You just got to follow the others, haven't you?
That when you get to my position, that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck to you tonight.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Steve Brace's win in the hill race of yesterday has given him a lead of 16 seconds over Tony O'Kell, And Karen Wapshot, in fact, is almost 3 minutes ahead of the next lady, so she's well in the lead. It's a deceptive course, this. There are 8 miles which are more or less flat, and then there's a 3-mile climb from the centre of Ashton-under-Lyne to Moseley. And it's on that 3-mile climb that many people succumb, the legs finally give in and they break down to barely a trot. And there have been many disasters in the past years on that stretch of the course. I think we tend to see the heavier weights of the runners in general closer to the back of the field. But one has to admire their courage and determination in getting to the finish. Well, maybe Steve was kidding somebody when he said he wasn't going to go eyeballs out at the start, because there's Steve Brace at the head of the proceedings. In fact, well ahead of the proceedings at the moment, seemingly trying to press on and establish some kind of a lead. But there's a long way to go yet. They've barely done half a mile. And the men that counter in there, Harry Clegg with the white vest and the red stripe, Tony O'Kell from Sale Harriers in the green, sandwiched over the shoulders of Steve Brace and Harry Clegg, and on the left-hand side with his number on his shorts and the distinctive green, red and white vest of Sale Harriers is Steve Edmonds, who had rather a poor run compared with his first stage in the hill race yesterday. And it's still Steve Brace at the head of proceedings, although his opponents are really on his tail now. The course goes through Odenshaw. They're about to leave the main road just after this stage and run across a rough trail of Odenshaw reservoirs. They'll then hit the main road again, Manchester Road up to Denton, Crown Point, turn left, go through Guide Bridge into Ashton-under-Lyne, and then start the climb, commenced by Cricket's Lane up to the finish at Moseley Football Club.
Sports fitters from High, Ron Hill Sport, and we're coming past the finish.
This is Guide Bridge, in fact, just after the halfway stage. They're at about 6.5 miles here, and at the only feed station on the course. There is some cloud cover. It doesn't look that hot, but obviously on the third day of competition these runners feel the need for some refreshment. If it's not drinks, it's a sponge to wipe over the body to cool them down. Thank you. Ricky Wilde running for Tameside Metropolitan Borough Council team, who are co-promoters of this race. Harry Kelly in the striped shorts, grabbing for a sponge there. Pete Lomas, who's featured in the veterans section of this race on many previous occasions. And here we are now on the dreaded hill, Moseley Road. Going quite well, just overtaking a bus, although I must admit the bus was stationary. But Steve is doing, as he said in his interview at the start or before the start, that he would perhaps attack on the hill.